you build the things real fast. Okay, it has to be ugly when you launch. Before the launch also, we already had like 1,000 plus signups on our platform. 50,000 lakh rupee, I guess, we borrowed from our friends. I was also in Europe earlier with my friends, and we were traveling, we were roaming around Belgium. I built a good CIBIL score. I had more than 10 12 credit cards.
How would you advise other young people to build their CIBIL score up?
Even after 3 months of my job,
Yep.
with the salary slip, I was not able to get a credit card.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Utkarsh, the co-founder of Cashvisory, and we are on a mission to get every single young Indian to their first investment. We have a very special guest with us here today. We have Harshvardhan Zaveri, who's the co-founder and CEO of Orbitwallet. Now, one very interesting thing about Orbitwallet is that they actually raised their pre-seed fundraise even before their product was live from 100x VC, which is pretty amazing, Harsh. Would love to understand that journey. And specifically for our audiences, I think even they would be curious to know, how did you manage to do that? So we'll get to that question very, very soon. And guys, for you guys, we have a very special giveaway that's coming up later. You'll actually get the chance to get an Orbitwallet card completely free of cost. And the speciality about this card, guys, is that it can be used anywhere, for retail, for online shopping, but more importantly, you can use it across all public transport throughout the country. So look forward to that, find that Easter egg, and claim your reward later in the episode. So once again, welcome Zaveri. So first of all, would love to understand what you're exactly building with Orbitwallet and how you stumbled upon that idea.
Okay, so it's quite a long story of how we stumbled upon this. Moreover, so I will just start with how we stumbled upon this idea. Okay, so journey is quite long. So I still remember when the Google Wallet initially launched in India back in 2017-18. I was in college, and I used to save my credit and debit card, actually I had that time, in my Google Wallet, and I used to make payments, and it used to feel so cool to just simply pay with your phone with a single tap.
Yep.
Right? But later on, it was not for everything. We were in, so you can only just make payments. But when we were in Delhi, we figured out ki yaar, why can't we use our phones to tap at the metro stations?
Yep.
But that was some thought that I had pretty much 6-7 years ago, and it always stuck with me.
Right.
Okay. We never figured it out. We didn't have any expertise, knowledge. How does the finance works? How do you build a fintech company? What are the cards?
Yep.
We actually thought like only the banks can do this,
Yep.
not any other startup or any company can. So that was some idea. But later on in the journey, I ended up working with a fintech company where I built prepaid cards, credit cards,
Nice.
and I got exposure. Okay, how the things are worked, and how you can build the great products, and so yeah, that was always the thought. And when we were working, so I figured out an opportunity in the space. We figured out there's a thing called NCMC, which is the National Common Mobility Card, which was launched by NPCI. It's just another payment switch like your regular UPI.
Right.
Instead, it's a virtual switch, and where the NCMC is technically a physical switch on your card, which talks to every other operators. All your public transit operators, you can call it, metros get onboarded, and you can simply the payment instruments can talk to each other.
Right.
So that was the whole idea. And when I stumbled upon it, okay, then I figured out, okay, now there is something. There are a lot of ifs and buts, journeys in between. There was a card tokenization. How do you actually keep your card on device? And there are multiple factors also on the way,
Right.
which I figured it out over my period working in the fintech startup company. So yeah, when I found out, okay, this is something I can do, so I just jumped on the opportunity, and we are building what we are building.
Right.
Just adding to it, I was also in Europe earlier with my friends, and we were traveling, we were roaming around Belgium. I remember we were heading towards Amsterdam, and we were in the metros, and we were 4 friends. We all are college mates technically from
Right.
second year. We 4 are the guys who used to live together. We 4 were there, and we saw that our Visa card were working, which was Bank of Baroda's card technically.
Right.
Which I was able to make payments in the buses in Belgium, in Amsterdam. I bought even the intercity tickets with it
Right.
by simply tapping it. So we understood like, okay, this is going to be huge. Okay. And the convenience is the important factor.
Absolutely.
So I never had to doubt what we are building, and this is how the journey started, and where we are, what we are building.
Right. That's super interesting. And, I think we just have so many cards in our wallets these days that
Yes.
it would be absolutely amazing to instead replace it all with one single card. Right.
Right.
So, were you always into fintech, or is it something that got you interested in fintech later, or did you just stumble upon it by accident?
Again, fintech was unconsciously got into me. Fintech got into me very unconsciously, and the journey is very weird. Okay, so while growing up, so my dad used to be a stock trader.
Right.
I always used to had a lot of that yearly reports on my home. I always used to read it, see the big numbers. So somewhere fintech finance fascinated me.
Khoon mein, basically.
Yeah, so it just fascinated me. I never knew that I will end up in the fintech.
Right.
And it was there back in college also. I was into prestigious teams of my college, FSE, ISEC, and all, and
Right.
somehow I was the one who was managing the finances and everything,
Got
because
it.
I was good with the numbers, I was good with the business. I understand a little bit more there. Okay. And somehow, but my career was not into fintech primarily. I joined
Right.
into a YC company which was into healthcare, building robotic devices.
Interesting.
Okay, again, my next company was also into the healthcare. Okay, so for more than 3 years, I worked in the healthcare. Then I jumped to fintech. Okay, somehow I was the first employee to them. So
Right.
I had a liberty and the opportunity to build everything what I want.
Right.
Okay, and when you're the first guy working somewhere, you actually exposed, and not even I will say you have to learn
Correct.
how things works.
Yep.
Okay, because if you have to build something, then you have to learn from scratch.
Bilkul.
So that was the point. I learned everything inside out fintech. I will say I'm very good in learning and getting the things done. So this is where my fintech journey in the fintech start. And I actually grasped more knowledge in like 1.5 year, 2 hours of sprint there.
Right.
So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And let's address the question for which a lot of people are waiting for, right?
Sure.
Which is, with Orbitwallet, you guys raised your funds before your product was even live in the market, right?
Right.
And being in the startup ecosystem, we understand what a difficult feat that is. So tell me more about how that happened, how the entire journey panned out.
Okay, so it's again an interesting story to tell, kind of. So we started working on this project. Okay, we were like 2-3 months down the line. We were building, and that was just me and my two co-founders.
Right.
One of the guy who heads tech, and I'm the product. We both have actually worked into fintech.
Right.
We know how the things works. I totally understand how to build the cards. I had the connects. Okay. And generally, what happens is in the fintech, even for the first MVP to go live, it takes usually 12 to 18 months.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
But since we know everything about it, we have built it, both of them. He's the tech and I am the product. We exactly know what we require at day zero.
Right.
Okay. And it was nothing we just decided on a single day. It was 3 months of planning. We exactly knew, we had the all, product requirements kind of ready. Ki haan, ye lagega humko.
Right.
So this is when we started. We quickly started building the product, and in less than 2-3 months, we are like almost 80-90% in the terms of tech which is required to go live.
Nice. That's super impressive.
Right. So that was one of the I think we actually nailed it down there. Okay. And when we started to investors, so these guys technically reached out to us, and we were talking to them. It was also quite convincing for them ki, okay, this is the things which we have achieved in the last 3 months, and it will take us near to no time to go live.
Right.
Okay. Again, we were very crystal clear about what we were doing. Okay. And somehow early mover is not accepted as a advantage in the ecosystem. Okay, it is never an advantage. But since in our case it was actually the factor. Okay, because when we started on the NCMC project, there were no company. There were banks, already there, but they were not thinking as how we were thinking about the NCMC and how it is going to be involved in the Indian market, and
Right.
how it is going to be the product which will be used by the masses, just like how UPI is.
Right.
So yes, we had a early more advantage there, and we were very curious. We know exactly how this technology is going to evolve in the coming years.
Right.
We know in and out. We read the papers around it and everything.
Hmm.
We know technically everything about it. So yeah, that was we had. So we knew it. So we were able to convey it to the investors whom we are
Hmm.
talking to. So
Right.
I think this helped us.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think there's a lot of takeaways for our viewers from what you said, right?
Right.
Which is you went really deep into the problem statement. You understood the technicalities of it.
Right.
You sort of connected it to a real life problem. And you were pretty far along in your journey, even though not product launched. But in
Right.
fintech, you need to go through a lot of hoops, as you rightly pointed out. Being a fintech startup, we know, right? Even our sort of go to market took much longer because of the licensing requirements. So kudos to you for doing that. But I was also curious because you worked in a lot of startups before that that were YC backed, right?
Right.
So do you think that somewhere had a contributing role to play in terms of you being able to do this faster?
Yes, I think that was they are the primary factors for everything which happened.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, it helped us a lot. I joined these companies in a very early stage. I was kind of the first employee to them.
Hmm.
Okay, again, and yeah, it helped us a lot. It see, it's in the YC companies have a very different culture
Right.
and way of working. You know, you build the things real fast. Okay, it has to be ugly when you launch.
Right.
And we followed the same principles. Okay, we worked on the and even like before the launch also we already had like 1,000+ signups on our platform. You know,
Nice.
people were actually liking what we were building.
Hmm.
And yes, talking back to the YC startups which I worked, yes, it helped a lot. It helped me with the great connects in the market. I was very lucky to be working with the really good minds.
Hmm.
So yes, it definitely helped a lot.
Got it. Got it. No, that sounds super amazing. And the fact that you did engineering originally, right?
Yes.
But now you're sort of leading product,
Right.
and you're also someone that codes, right? So I think a lot of different skill sets that kind of holistically contributed to you
Right.
being where you are today. So if you can help guide our audience on how they can build these sort of different yet complementary skills, that might eventually take them to the place that they need to go.
Okay. Uh, so I'll take you. I actually accidentally ended up doing engineering in mechanical.
Right, me too.
Okay,
So
so
cheers to that.
I took a diploma in mechanical,
Right.
and if you took a diploma in mechanical, you only had one option. Now you can do engineering in mechanical.
Right.
You cannot change the branch. Okay, so I ended up with the mechanical. Okay, but before even starting that, I knew that I don't want this.
Right.
But I need a degree. Okay, and more to that, I need to. I wanted to get into the best college.
Right.
Okay, so I had a good network. I was very clear about my life, which most of people are not. Okay, so yeah, that was thing. So when I got into mechanical, I started learning to code. I understand. I started learning how the tech works.
Right.
Okay, somehow I also figured it out in the journey. I don't want to code,
Right.
but I learned by that time I was quite ahead and I know how the things works. I won't say that I'm very good of a tech guy, but I understand the
Right.
code. I know how the things works, how the things are built,
Right.
how much time it will take to build, what are the challenges you will be facing it. So yeah, I had a very good high level of understanding over there.
That's great.
And when I started my journey, I started working as a generalist first, primarily into sales.
Got it.
And luckily I was the initial hires in the sales, and you are doing the first sales of the companies. At that point the products are not matured at all,
Correct.
so you had to work around the product also. Okay, so now you are jumping onto product business and the use case, and you are the only guy who is listening to the customer.
Right. True.
So it gives you a much more deeper insight what you have to build. So this is how I ended up working on multiple things.
Interesting.
Okay, and I think this is where it helped me, and how I turned into product, and now I have become a generalist.
Amazing, amazing. And your sort of current phase of journey, I think I'm sure all of these skill sets will help you out massively, right?
Right.
But when it comes to going from a stable job with a stable income, right? Even if it's in a early stage startup, well-funded startup, you don't need to think about your bread and butter on a daily basis.
Right.
But becoming a founder is a whole different ballgame, right?
Right.
You need to sort of make sacrifices in your personal life. in your personal finances, right?
True.
So can you tell me a bit about how the transition was for you, and more specifically, like how did you sort of start off Orbit Wallet? Did you end up putting some of your own capital in it as well?
Yes, when we started, we put in some of our own money.
Right.
So we were three founders, and we decided to, put some of our own money.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was not very a lot of money we kept
Mm-hmm.
put in. Like it was really less than 10 lakh rupees. All three us together
Right.
put in, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, like we already had that sort of savings with us since we are
Yep.
earning from last 3-4 years, and
Hmm.
we have technically saved.
Yep.
Okay, there were so yeah, it was kind of easy, and there was sometimes the things were going off the books. Like there were much more expenses which was coming along
Yep.
before we took the investment and all. So we had friends.
Hmm.
So we just asked them कि यार इसमें थोड़ा सा दे दो,
Right.
10-20 हज़ार रुपये ट्रांसफर कर दो someone. So 50,000 lakh rupee, I guess we borrowed from our friends, but
Hmm.
it was not like needed at that point, but we just wanted to be help us and feel secure
Right.
about us, like okay, we have the runway. And I think initially but we have the runway. We somehow I managed to save around 5 lakh rupees something, because I know at one point the time will come when I have to do.
Right.
And again, for me it was very clear from the beginning only.
Hmm.
Okay, I always know that I have to start up somewhere.
Hmm.
So the mindset was already clear that I have to save.
Right. Got
So it was not that hard for me.
Right. That's amazing, and I think the human capital that you have, right?
Right.
When you sort of needed help with the cash flow, you had people to borrow from,
Right, right.
right? But as an early stage company, right? Did you guys also get into taking business loans in the early part of the operations?
No, we never thought about it.
Got it.
And again, I will be never suggesting it as well.
Mhm.
Okay, because when you start building, you should build with nothing.
Hmm.
Okay, the money also we required was because of some license we had to take.
Correct. Right.
Okay, it was not the expense like expense. Okay,
Hmm.
they were never the expense of sales, marketing. They were never the uh, I don't know what to call it, but they were not the expenses. That
Yeah.
was the needed things.
Very lean operations.
Very
yeah.
lean things, because we need some licensing, we need some softwares that we have to pay.
Right.
We cannot build it.
Hmm.
Okay, so if we can't build it, if you can build something, you must do with you yourself, right?
Absolutely.
You cannot spend money over there. So yeah, we never thought about taking business loans or anything.
That makes sense. And as an early stage sort of startup founder, you need to be incredibly stingy with your
Right.
money, right? Because the longer you can sort of go with maximizing the existing resources that you have, it's also sort of practice for when you do your fundraise. It doesn't mean that you can completely change your outlook. You still have to maximize that runway. You still have to keep that going. So I think that stingy sort of outlook helps out quite a bit.
Right.
Right. So that's very interesting to know. But tell me more about your sort of personal finances, right? Because as you said, you had saved up over the years, right, in your career. So is there any particular saving strategy that you implemented, and was it just savings? Did you invest that money? How did you do the entire gamut?
Okay, so interestingly, I started saving when I got my first internship, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
in Bangalore only.
Right.
So what I did in the from first salary only, I made a, SIP of 5,000 rupees.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it is still running on.
Mhm.
Okay, I never look at it, what's going on, I know nothing about it.
Mhm.
But my first month, and with the first salary, I started SIP of 5K.
That's
It is
superb.
that is still running.
Guys, all of you should do that, by the way. Start an SIP with your first
Right.
salary. Amazing. Please go on.
So yeah, that was there. As I moved along my career, I did much more mutual funds. Okay, some policies I had
Yep.
where I am paying a lakh rupee a year or something, which covers my insurance and investments both simultaneously.
Mhm.
Okay, so I try to be secure.
Yep.
I secured myself because I know my health insurance is covered,
Yep.
and I am going. The money, some of my money is flooding into the investment.
Right.
It's good. So these are the two things which I did. And I think the most important thing which I did was I built a good CIBIL score,
Interesting.
because I think someone should have more liquidity.
Hmm.
Savings is good, investments is good, but you should always. So I believe you, if you want to be, what you can call it, you want to be lucky.
Hmm.
So you need to have a liquidity in your hands, because you
Absolutely.
can stumble upon you can stumble upon any opportunity anytime and you don't know it.
Yep.
So I also have some investment in share market, some
Hmm.
of the shares which I have bought.
Yep.
So what I did was 3 months down the line my job, I took a Kotak card, credit card,
Mm-hmm.
putting 15,000 rupees deposit,
Right.
and they got me a credit limit of 12,000. I still have that card.
Nice.
The limit is still the same. Okay, but that this is something I did. Every month I used to spend, and every month I used to repay.
Hmm.
I never ever took a loan from the credit cards.
That's
Every
important.
month I repaid the entire amount.
Yep.
Maybe there will be some month coming in your way where you are not able to repay it, pay the minimum due or withdraw the cash from other card, and there is a 2% some interest is there.
Right.
But I always revolve. You never
Hmm.
take a loan from the credit card
Absolutely.
because you do the simple maths. It's just
Way too high.
bad and it's way too
It
high.
comes to
And
over 40%. Yeah.
it comes to 40% with GST, taxes, charge, and there are
Yeah.
much more things
Lot of other
apart
things.
from interest.
True
I'm
that.
saying. So these are the few things happened. So I built a good CIBIL score. I had more than 10, 12 credit cards.
Oh wow.
Okay, this is why I'm building Orbitwallet. I don't like carrying
Right.
cards. Okay, so that's one thing. So this is how it went. So I built a very good credit score. I had a good credit limit.
Right.
So I think that was the plan. With this is how what my personal finance look like.
Got it. That's pretty amazing. And, I think a lot of very interesting insights that you shared, which are very, very beneficial to everyone. I think one thing that you kind of did is you automated your investments.
Right.
Those were SIPs. Even if you had policies, you had the premiums going out automatically from a bank account. So you don't need to think about it. And
Right.
it doesn't become, will I save this month? It goes at the start of the month when your salary
Right.
comes, right? And that is one thing we keep recommending to everyone watching, which is make sure you have your SIP set up the day you get your salary, the day after that, right? And if you have something left on top of the SIP which you want to save, you should have a standing instruction so that
Right.
it goes into another bank account and you don't touch it from there, right? Only then you kind of will ensure that you hit your saving targets. So I'm super
True.
glad you did that with your first salary. That's super impressive to know, right? Okay, guys, sorry to interrupt this episode, but you are lucky because you stumbled into the Easter egg, and there's a very special prize that you can win. Over to Zaveri to tell you what that is.
Okay, so the action will be you just have to go to the comments and type personal finance. One lucky winner will be getting Orbit card delivered to their doorstep.
You also talked about one very key thing, which is risk management. So you had your health insurance, you had your policies, which took care of the other risks in life, the unforeseen things that
Right.
you can't plan for, right? Which is again super duper key. And the last thing which I want to highlight is you always pay your credit card loans. I mean your credit card bills
Bills,
on
yeah.
time, right? And you don't take a loan from there. So guys, if you do have a lot of credit cards, first of all, try not to have a lot of credit cards because it gets hard to manage.
Yes, it's very hard.
But if you do, just make sure you pay off on time every single time, right? But very interesting to see how you thought about building your CIBIL score so early in life, because I think most young people don't do that, right? So I want to dip a bit more into that. How did you get introduced to that idea? And like how would you advise other young people to build their CIBIL score up? Because liquidity, as you rightly said, is power.
Right. So again, like I somehow from a very young age I knew it. Okay, I know like cash is king. Okay, from the beginning because
Yep.
before my engineering also I started doing jobs after my engineering.
Right.
But before my engineering also I had some startup sprints in my life, and I understood the cash flows.
Right.
Okay, and somehow I understand like you should always have cash in hand because I have missed some opportunities because I didn't have cash in my hand. Okay,
Right.
maybe buying a second hand phone.
Hmm.
Someone is coming up with you and बोलेंगे मेरे पास पैसों की ज़रूरत है, and it's just not a very good example, but there are opportunities coming around in your life.
Right.
So I knew it, and when I got my first salary I knew it कि यार अब मेरे पास salary slip है.
Hmm.
I can immediately go. Even after 3 months of my job,
Yep.
with the salary slip, I was not able to get a credit card. तो मैंने FD करा के credit card लिया
Right.
15,000 रुपए की.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a 12,000 limit. It's still fine. My 3,000 rupees is blocked.
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that was the first thing I did. And again, in 6 months down the line, I still remember it. I got that card in as a July and by January I got my another credit card.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's a very short journey, so I always knew that I need to have a liquidity in my hand,
Yep.
because I wanted to prepare myself from, obviously you are saying it, but unforeseen circumstances comes. I need a liquidity in my hand. What if
Right.
someday I need X amount of money,
Hmm.
so I need to have a proper CIBIL score.
Yep.
And somehow I was exposed to CIBIL score very early in my life. I knew
Hmm.
it from my parents. You will say कि हाँ CIBIL score होता है.
Right.
If you go to bank, you need a loan from you get a loan from it.
Hmm.
And before even joining job back in the college, there was so many credit card just came into the market, and you used to get a lot of offers
Correct.
on credit
Yeah.
cards. So somehow I googled, I don't remember exactly, but I think I must have googled it,
Hmm.
how to get a credit card. Maybe I have applied,
Right.
okay, and I was not able to get it
Hmm.
because I don't have a CIBIL score.
Right.
So I think that idea was always there. I don't know, but I still remember. I think Big Billion Day ki sale pe you need a credit card to get a good
Right.
phone, right?
To get a discount.
So
Right.
I think somehow I think I got there,
Right.
luckily.
Super interesting. And I think now we're talking about the other side. We talked about कि credit card से कैसे loan नहीं लेना चाहिए, but credit card के benefits भी होते हैं, right?
Right.
In the fact that you first of all build your credit score, which most young people are not aware of, which I think not just helps you in getting a loan, but it helps you getting a better deal on your loan also. You get a better interest rate
Right.
if you do have a good CIBIL score, versus if you don't have any history of credit cards or loans, it becomes hard for you to get that first loan. So it's a chicken and egg problem. And credit
Right.
card for a salaried person can be a good solution to that problem.
True.
So I think that's a pretty interesting insight for a lot of our viewers, which we don't commonly talk about, but it's important. So now we're going to be talking a bit more about your portfolio, right? Because you talked about how you've invested in mutual funds, how you did a bit of stock investing, how you have certain insurance-linked investment plans as well. And I'm sure your startup that you've invested in and the equity that you hold is also an investment, right? So if you were to just paint a picture for us, how would you say percentage-wise your portfolio is currently split among all of these different assets?
Okay. I think most of it is in mutual funds and
That's great.
SIPs. Okay.
Okay.
Because it just compounded over so many years.
Right.
Okay. I think that is the primary reason. Because every month it goes very less.
Right.
5 to 8,000 only it goes, but now it has compounded very big. Now it is 70%.
Right.
Okay,
Amazing.
I never thought about it. Just realized. But stocks I have, it will be 30%, because stocks, I keep on speculating.
Right.
Sometimes I buy it in the dips,
Hmm.
and now I know that it's going up,
Yeah.
and I don't have much knowledge over there.
Hmm.
But I always look at the market. If I had a conviction, I see the news. Okay, I think this has reached its potential to
Right.
go upward. I sell it out, and then I guess 30% of my portfolio is in stocks.
Right.
Most of it is in mutual funds and SIPs. Yeah.
Got it, got it. And I think that's the right approach, because mutual funds are the no-brainer, right? Especially when you do
Right.
it in the form of SIP, your dollar cost averaging, and you see the power of compounding manifest after years.
Right.
So I'm glad that you harness that power, and I urge everyone watching to do that as well, especially early in their career, right? People don't understand how big a factor time is when it comes to compound interest. So I'm really glad you talked about that. Now, when it comes to your career, right? I understand that you did get exposure to certain startups that are related to the DeFi space, and also crypto, right? So how do you see crypto as an investment? And what are your thoughts on crypto in general, not just from an investment perspective?
See, I was in the crypto. We also even tried, building cards, which gives you crypto as a rewards,
Right.
a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it didn't work out.
Hmm.
Uh,
Partially
but
regulatory
yeah, it's
issues.
because of regulatory issues and all.
Hmm.
I myself invested in crypto long back.
Hmm.
I didn't make a lot of profit around it.
Right.
Okay, because maybe I was too late to enter.
Hmm.
Okay, that was the reason.
Right.
But I will not suggest, because it's very volatile kind of space.
Yep. Agree.
Okay. Somehow I try to stay away from it because I don't understand.
Right. Right.
Okay, so that will be my view over there.
Got it, got it. And being someone who's a techie and someone who codes and is a product person, what's your thoughts on the sort of potential of blockchain as a technology?
Okay, yeah. So I am really bullish on the tech which comes around crypto, the blockchain
Right.
especially, and I think it is going to be something very very big in the near future.
Hmm.
And yes, I like this is something which I am very bullish, but not on the crypto side.
Got it, got it, and that makes complete sense. Now, regarding your finances, right? I have one last question, which is when it comes to your financial goals or your dreams, right? Like a lot of people talk about retiring, fire ka concept, financial freedom. So,
Mm.
how do you think about it? Because I understand that also being a startup founder, we are very much married to our current baby, right?
Right.
And we kind of neglect our own personal finances, our own dreams. But bringing you back to that, right? How do you sort of think about it? Where do you want to be with your money?
Okay, so when you talked about fire and all, getting rem, I don't think I ever wanted to be retired or कभी retire नहीं होना चाहता मैं.
Right.
Right. Uh, but again, having said that, in terms of financial, where I want to be, even it like 5 years, 10 years down the line, I want me to do whatever I want. I can travel across the world without even thinking.
Right.
Okay. So I wanted to be in that stage, but there is no, numbers I can quote in the terms of what you achieve. It's again numbers.
Got it.
It
Got it.
leads to
So you
infinity.
want to be in a place where you're sort
Yeah.
of able to not worry about expenses and
Right.
focus on what you're building.
Focus on
Right.
what I'm building, what I'm passionate about,
Hmm.
and what makes me happy, what you can call it.
Right.
So, yeah, that will be my ideal freedom.
Right. Awesome. And like just in terms of your overall college experience
Hmm.
and also sort of everything that you achieved through your career so far,
Right.
right? For the sake of our audiences,
Hmm.
is there certain benefits that you think come with studying in a tier one engineering college versus a tier two engineering college in India specifically?
So, if you're studying in the tier one colleges,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it definitely gives you bumps.
Right.
Okay, it will give you a good bump in your career path,
Hmm.
but it doesn't, what you can call it, you cannot guarantee that
Guarantee success. True.
you're going to land safe.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the one thing.
Hmm.
But yes, having in a tier one college, and what I believe is when you are in a tier one institutes now,
Hmm.
the results will be seen 5 years, 6 years down the line,
Right.
because the only thing you take away from there is the people
Hmm.
and the network you create over there.
Hmm.
Okay, and somehow you will end up working with the big five and top companies where you'll be solving a much more complex problems,
Right.
and if you are smart enough you will be able to figure it out and connect the dots.
Hmm.
Okay, this big problem which you are solving can actually solve a very small problem for the masses.
Right.
So if you are able to connect that, it is really going to help you reach your goal far more better
Mm-hmm.
compared to if you are studying in a tier 2 college. So yes.
Got it. Got it. No, that makes complete sense. And I
Mm.
think this is one thing that a lot of young people should focus on early in their career, right? We,
Right.
we end up focusing too much on college and, the sort of syllabus and exams, but building the right networks, meeting enough people, because those are the sort of people that will become the successful people 10 years down the line,
Right.
right? So building a good sort of relationship with them and maintaining those relationships goes a long way. Right.
Right.
And this is something that I think I've only realized after years of working. But I think it's
True.
something, if you're young, if you're still in college, if you're around college, please focus on this human capital a lot more.
Right.
Is
You have
one
to be
thing.
intentional, I will say.
Yes.
While selecting the college, choosing your friends in the college, you have to be
Right.
intentional with why you choose this.
करेक्ट जो मम्मी कहती थी कि क्लास के टॉपर के साथ दोस्ती करो उसमें थोड़ी रियलिटी
It is
हो
true
सकती
actually.
है
It is true.
राइट
Okay, they were never wrong.
Right. True that. True that. No, that's amazing. And Zaveri, we are going to get into now a very, very interesting segment where it's going to be rapid questions and rapid answers. It's a rapid fire round. So getting right into it. Nvidia versus Apple.
Nvidia.
Okay. And is there any reason why you say that? Just curious.
I love the founder. Like he's a good guy.
Right. Elon Musk or Ratan Tata?
Ratan Tata.
Okay. Nice. And do you say that because you're Indian?
No, it's about how people look at him. He's Very powerful yet humble.
Stocks versus startup as an investment.
Startup.
Okay, okay, got it. Study hard or study smart?
Study smart.
Right.
Always.
Coffee or tea?
T.
Acquisition or IPO?
IPO.
Okay. Fitness or finance?
Finance.
Okay, are you sure about that?
So I'm not. I just said it. It should be fitness.
Right.
Somehow, I chose finance
Okay.
in my
got
life,
it.
but I'm not convinced for myself also why I'm doing it. But I don't know. I just felt like for first few years, I thought of choosing finance first.
Got
I
it.
will keep aside a little bit of my fitness,
Hmm.
but it's just a sprint. I'm going to get back.
Right. Awesome. And YC or MIT?
YC.
Okay. And one advice that you would go back and give to your younger self?
Okay. I think when I was early in my career, okay, um, during diploma, I started a small another company back in time, which I ran for 3 years before engineering.
Right.
Okay, at that time I made a good hefty money.
Mm-hmm.
I never saved that amount.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so one thing I will do is I will save more
Hmm.
if I knew.
Right.
Second is I should have studied hard or not hard. I
Smart.
should have studied smart. Okay, maybe hard at that point of time because at that when you are younger you need to compete.
Hmm. True
So
that. Combination of
smart
hard and
comes
smart.
after you cross your 12th and everything, right?
That's true.
So I should have studied smart and I should have ended up with the great institutes.
Hmm.
I must have entered into great colleges.
Hmm.
Sitting with the great people, even not studying is fine. But I should have gotten into the top institutes.
Got it, got it.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing, Zaveri, and I think a lot of insights here today for all our listeners. Thank you so much for joining us,
Sure.
and guys, thank you as well for joining us for this episode. And if you are struggling with your money management, if you have any questions about personal finance, anything that you would like to come and ask us, you can book a 30-minute free consultation call with me or my co-founder. The link is in the description. And thanks again for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Thank you so much again, Zaveri.
Thank you.